Okay, so then you got the gig to do Mother's Milk, which is the record after that. That
Yeah,
would have
that's
been, what,
right.
89?
Yeah,
I think so.
that's right.
And this is really, they had much bigger breakout.
Yeah.
The We'll talk about making that record and the changes in the band that happened. Like, why did Jack leave, and how, did you keep in touch with the band in between making the records?
Yeah, yeah, we did keep in touch. I mean, we were pretty close. We weren't in touch regularly, but they would just keep me apprised, and once in a while we'd get together for dinner and stuff like that, just hang out. I think DH introduced Flea to John, who was like a Chili Peppers fan and a Dead Kennedys fan.
Okay.
And no one knew of his secret superpowers at the time. The fact that he was a trained, music student.
Right.
That he actually he understood composition. He knew music theory up, down, and sideways, and would spend his time transcribing Steve Vai guitar solos and stuff like that. He'd sit around in his house for like 12 hours every day with just drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes and doing crazy shit like that. So he was absolutely perfect. And he had this like hideous Ibanez guitar as well, which that didn't suit the Chili Peppers too much, but it's a different story. They had to let DH go, and they started rehearsals for drummers, and I thought, oh, this is the Chili Peppers, we're not going to have any problem at all getting a new drummer. The rehearsals and tryouts for a drummer for this band is going to be a fait accompli, right?
I'd like to take a second to talk to you about this channel. This is actually Rick Beato too. I've had it since the beginning of my main channel, and many of you are not subscribed. As a matter of fact, 87% of the people that watch this channel regularly are not subscribed. So I encourage you to hit the subscribe button on this channel and on my main channel. This will help me get even more of my dream guests and help continue to grow both channels. Thank you.
I have never seen I've never seen a more lackluster group of drummers under one roof in my entire life. I was so let down.
So you were actually at these auditions?
I had to be.
And what were you doing, in SIR or something? People would
No,
come
it was where they rehearsed. It was in a place called Hully Gully.
Okay.
And yeah, it was just this this procession of these hang dog, down on your luck type drummers. And there was this one guy who was kind of halfway decent, who had sort of like a Buffalo Springfield bowl type haircut.
Right.
Who was the only guy who I think came close to being even remotely acceptable. And I'm thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, DH was better than all these guys put together. What did I do? Yeah. And so the last day, we're all we're sort of done, just sitting around in a malaise. And last drummer comes in, this big guy, looking around the room like that, like he owns the place. And we all hate him immediately. Everyone just looks at him and goes like, this fucking guy, what a prick. He looks like he belongs in a metal band.
Okay.
He's got like a bandana around his head and stuff like that. He just so not right. And I'm just thinking to myself, I just want this guy to go. What's your name? Chad? Perfect name. Play your drums. Get the fuck out. The guy sits down at the drum kit, and from the first hit, I was like, oh my God. And he's also yelling, he's like, yeah, while he's playing. He's so comical, but he was so good.
Right.
He was so good. And something happened in that room that I've only experienced a few times in my life. Like, it literally felt like some energy portal had opened. Have you ever experienced anything like that? In a room, watching people perform, not seeing a live show, but in a space, something happening that's never happened before when people come together like that.
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
What a feeling. It had literally felt like a whole bunch of doors had opened. Like a magic incantation had been recited, and everything just went dum 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 like that in a movie.
So he just randomly answered this ad
Yeah.
that was put in some
Yeah.
local paper, whatever would be in LA, and,
Yep.
and he came in and he was the last guy.
The very last guy on the last day. We would have been done.
I mean, in retrospect, that moment changed their lives, changed everybody's lives. The people that are fans of the Chili Peppers, that this guy just happened to drive his car down there and
Motorcycle. Even better.
And sat down at the drums, and that was it. History was made there. That was a.
And you could feel it. You could feel everything shifted. Yes. It was incredible. It was a really strange moment. And these guys in the band are looking at each other like they're trying to keep from smiling because they hate this guy so much. But at the same time, he's not only the best drummer that they've auditioned, he's probably the best drummer they've ever played with in their entire lives. They knew what they were dealing with, and the vibe was so incredible. Mm-hmm. It was so good. You know, you couldn't deny it.
This record came out, and then the band really got firmly established as a big band.
Yeah.
Did you have a producer manager at the time? Were producer managers even a thing?
Yes, they were.
Okay.
I desperately wanted one.
Okay.
Because I was still kind of like
explain about this, because this thing. Producer managers really started around in the late '80s, mid '80s or so.
Mid '80s, yeah, a little earlier.
Yeah, so producers would have managers, and they would go out and interface with the record labels, the A&R people, and they would get work theoretically for their producers, although usually it was the producers getting the work, and they would just take their cut.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, once in a while we got lucky, though.
Right.
It was better to have a manager because they could handle the business stuff better.
Yeah.
They were better talkers.
They would book the studios. You might tell them, but they would interface typically with the studios.
They would help. But basically, when it came down to it, it gave you some prestige.
Right.
It gave you more prestige than a guy who's like, I don't have a manager. You know, because it's sort of like